All right, guys, we are live. Welcome back to the channel. Getting you on the grind and improving your mind every single video that we do, guys. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Today, we have a special guest for you. Today, we have Devin from Just Approach. Devin, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I got to say, it's nice to be here, and I like that intro.
Thank you. Thank you. We put in some work on that.
Right. We wanted to jump right into it for the audience. So we wanted to know what your backstory is and how did you get good at basically approaching women in real life, because that's basically what today's topic is, and the dynamics that go into that, because a lot of guys are afraid to approach a woman in their entire life. I like to say it all the time, a lot of guys will go to the military, risk going to Ukraine and dying and everything, but they won't talk to a woman across from the parking lot. So they will risk their life, shoot guns, but they can't say hi to a girl. So how did you start getting into this? How did you get the confidence? What is your backstory that led you all into this and creating the channel as a whole?
Yeah, so just to slightly play off of that, it's so true. You know, I talk to guys in high positions of power at work all the time. You know, they're used to ordering people around, so to speak, right? They're like the head honcho at work. But then I see these people, these guys, they crumble, you know, when it comes to talking to girls, even average looking girls, right? It's like, you know, they'll speak to you, how I'm speaking to you right now. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Like, and then it's just, they just can't carry that same vibe, right? So how I first got into this was I was the guy in high school that got no attention from girls. And I don't even think that, you know, I'm exaggerating when I say this. I don't even think I hugged a girl in high school. And I just got so sick of it. Like I would sit there and I would watch these guys and girls would just, you know, be talking to them, be flirting with them. And I'd be looking at them and I'd be like, right, these guys, you know, physically, they don't have much going on. They're not really that attractive. Like, what is it? I just couldn't figure it out. And I was too afraid of, you know, to make a move myself. Right. So I'd be sitting there and I'd just be overthinking it. Girls complicated the shit out of me, or, you know, the whole, like girls in general, I just didn't understand. I didn't want to say something to them because I didn't know how their brains worked. Right. So right when I graduated, I just said, fuck this. I'm sick and tired of not being able to approach a girl. And then, you know, my buddy, actually, who I met in college, this guy was from Africa, right? So he had moved to Canada at like 14 years old. And I saw him just flawlessly and effortlessly go up and speak to girls, right? And then I asked him, I was like, how the fuck do you do that? and then he told me, he's like, you know what? Like, I like the things that he had seen, the fact that he can go up to, you know, people in public and speak to them with no repercussions or consequences. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He was just telling me it's so easy, right? And then he just told me it's just like half the battle is just fighting off those voices and being able to go up and just approach a girl, right? Because you disqualify yourself half the time. So I know this is a bit of a long-winded answer to your question, but perfect. Yeah, that's initially how I, you know, first got into this stuff. And then from there, you know, I started actively going out and forcing myself to do this. And it became an obsession because I moved to the big city, right, where I knew nobody. I had no friends. I was really outside of my comfort zone outside of high school. The only friend I had was that one guy, the one guy who moved from Africa, right, who told me about that. And then that was my new mission, was to make friends, to go out, increase my social skills because I had none at the time. So that's kind of how that happened, right? I was kind of doing two things. I was going out trying to increase my social skills, trying to get good at talking to people because I realized that I had no social skills. And that was the biggest problem. So I'd go out and talk to guys, go up and randomly approach guys. And then from there, I would work my way up to going up and being able to confidently and effortlessly approach girls as well, too.
Right. You know, because I think what you said before, there's the guy that kind of naturally gets it. He's the guy, I guess, so a lot of people on the internet call that the natural. That's a guy who has social charisma basically from himself, or maybe he grew up with a very social family. Maybe he had a childhood where he was just constantly talking, and maybe he was around the right people at the right time and the right growth. And then and then he grows up and he's a ladies guy. Maybe he has that face, because I think there's a certain face that you kind of have that attracts girls. I'm not really sure about the biology of that, but I've seen it in real life. And then you have like the guy in the opposite. He kind of socially awkward. He doesn't grow up in the best environment. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of friends. And then he has to learn on his own how to actually talk to women. He has to muster up the confidence after years of rejection and finally get out there. And maybe he learns and maybe he gets better with, of course, the right mindset and the right opportunity given himself. But unfortunately, a lot of guys don't have the urge to do that. They'd rather just either jerk off to porn or they just give up and say, "Oh, I'm never gonna get a girl." So they subscribe to the incel forums on Twitter, and the cycle continues. So guys like you, actually say, you know what, I don't want to be that guy anymore, and you make a change for the better. You go on a journey. You actually go out, which is the most horrifying thing an average man can think of, is to actually go to a bar or go to ShopRite and go say hi to a girl, and not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing if you're going to get punched in the face, which, by the way, that's a movie thing, and or maybe he'll get the number. Although numbers don't always equal clothes, but we'll get to that later.
Mhm.
But what do you think is actually the biggest fear that causes men to not even go up to a girl at all?
The biggest fear, it's hard to nail it down to just one,
I know.
but I would say it's like, a lot of guys just beat themselves in their own mind, right? They let these negative thoughts talk themselves out of it. So to sum it up to one thing, it would just be that they psych themselves out. They reject themselves before even having the chance to get rejected by a girl.
Right.
I believe the same thing. Yeah, it's really fundamentally mental. You have to conquer your own mind to then conquer other fields of play. So if you know yourself and you know what you're good at, and you know what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, what you need to focus on and build, then from there you can start and proving and manipulating your brain to understanding what you need to work on and how you can improve and what you need to do to become better at whatever it is that you need to be better at. So like example is, oh, I'm not good at approaching people, and exactly what you did is you just went and started to talk to people, and people at first they're gonna psych themselves out, exactly, and they're gonna go fall into their own ways. But if they are really dedicated into wanting to change themselves, they are going to at least put in that risk and that effort to do what they need to do to get the goals and the results that they want.
Yeah, and that's a very good point too, and it made me think of, one of my biggest turning points, and it really started to shift things in my mind. It's like, you have to get to that point where you realign ultimately like what pain and pleasure means to you and what you're associating that with, right? So I got to the point where I was just so sick and tired of it, right? It became too painful for me to not go up and approach a girl, right? Like that pain of just thinking, what if, beating myself up and having those sleepless nights of staring at the ceiling, wondering, what if, why didn't I approach that girl? I know I'm better than that, right? So you sometimes, to your point, you have to get to that point where it's just so painful and you have to change. It's just not acceptable anymore. So you go from linking pain to, oh, I might get rejected. Oh no, I'm just going to not approach, to, okay, you know what? Like that feeling of not doing it is what's going to keep me up at night. And, a good trick, a good thing to keep in mind is like, when you don't want to go to the gym, when you don't want to do something that, you should be doing, think about how you're going to feel afterwards when you're lying in bed, your head's down on that nice little comfortable pillow, you're staring up at the ceiling and you're thinking, what the fuck? Why didn't I do that? So think about how you'll feel after versus thinking about how you currently feel in the moment. That's just what's helped me. We're experiencing some technical difficulties here, I think.
Right. Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think everyone needs to find their style. Here's the thing. People go on YouTube and they look at what guys say. They'll look at infield, or they'll look at what certain guys think say. And when they try to mimic,
Oh, I see. Yeah, just a little bit. You're a little bit laggy, but
I
it's
kind of
okay.
caught
I
what
mean,
you.
like, if you could fix it, it'd be good. But right, we were hearing you. I should.
Are you guys are still hearing me?
I love YouTube.
Yeah, we're still hearing you. Yeah, I think we're back
Okay.
to normal.
Yeah, I heard
gotta love the
kind of.
internet.
Oh yeah, hey. I mean, that's the thing, getting used to the online conversations versus in person. But I heard the gist of what you guys said. Am I
Yeah,
good?
so
What I was saying is that a lot of guys will go on the internet and they're gonna type in, "How do I talk to a girl?" So they're gonna go see an infield and they're gonna see a guy saying a line, a pickup line. Now, a lot of guys think that line is going to get them the girl. If I say this thing, she's going to suck my dick later. They use the line And then the girl realizes that's not him. That's not who he is. That is another man's words in his body. So what they do is they can tell you're not being authentic, and they'll laugh at you probably, because if you go up to a girl and say, "Hey, are you from Tennessee? Because you're the biggest 10 I see." If you say some dumb shit and they can tell it's not even you, they're gonna think, well, first of all, in the TikTok generation, they're gonna think they're being recorded automatically if you say some dumb shit.
Yeah.
Or they're just not going to think you're authentic, and it's going to ruin the vibe. So what you need to do is everyone needs to find their own style. Now, your style in your videos seems to work for you. If it gets you results, and if it's making you feel more confident and just works as a whole, that's your style. That's the way you should do it. But there are certain things people can learn from that style as well. They just don't have to say everything, because if people copy word for word what we say, and then the girl responds, then they're not going to know what to say next. So people need to
Right.
find their own style and groove of things. That's why the most important thing you can do is go out and do it yourself and actually take the basic plot points and then implement that in your real life.
Yeah, and that's, that's so bang on too, because I'll see it all the time. I used to do that as well too, and then it's the worst feeling, because I think a lot of guys like myself, when I first got into it, right, I was doing the same thing, right? So, the best line to use, how to talk to a girl, best approach openers, right? And I'd go up and like, let's act this out right now. I'd go up and I'd be like, "Hi, excuse me. I thought you were cute, so I had to come up and say hi." Right? What's wrong with that?
Very stuttery, and
Right.
you're not really paying attention to like her. You're
A girl, yeah,
you're
girls
thinking.
are very smart. They can tell when
Thinking.
you're not, yeah.
You're overthinking it.
You're trying to remember, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, it's all fine. Like, if you need a crutch, it's fine. Okay, like, have a canned line, but at least make it seem like you're coming up with it on the spot instead of trying to remember it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you could just have that in your back pocket. But you're right, to go off of your point too. It's like, how do you follow up with that, right? And it's like, the best approach. And this is what I began to learn, and obviously, it's different with different people, but it's just being present and being observational and commenting on, something a girl is wearing, where you guys are, just observing and just spitting it out.
Right. Like, you can easily go up to a girl and you can say, well, the wrong way to do would be to do it. I mean, it could be simple. You can go up to go, "Hi, how are you?" And then she'll be like, "What?" Versus if you're just being you, just being authentic and just not caring, like, "Hi, how are you?" And she'll be like, "Oh." There's a difference in tonality and also a difference in body language and eye contact, because eye contact is very important. If you're going to go up to a girl and say, "Hi, how are you?" It just doesn't. Because like when I first, because I think there's not many people, there's no one I know around me besides
Not
like one
really.
guy that
Not
actually will
really,
go
yeah.
up to a girl in real life. So not many people I could actually talk to in real life about it. But when I first started, it was you have to get into it. You have to develop your own style, and you can do that by time and consistency and practice. But a lot of guys, if they get rejected once, it's like, "Oh my god, I can never do that again." It really is numbers and it's consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we have a question here. So we have a question. Let's bring this up. Let's see if I can get this to come up here. What are the best places to approach women?
Okay,
Ooh, but-
I'll ask that later, but yeah, we can get into that now.
Yeah, let's just get into that right now.
Sure. Yeah. So, in my opinion, the best places to approach in general, right, is going to be a place where you are the master of the domain, right? So, let's say, and it doesn't, like, if you're really good at playing World of Warcraft, right? How many girls are playing World of Warcraft, right? Like, it has to be in a place where it makes sense, right? So, it's like, okay, let's say you're, really good at yoga, 60 different positions of yoga, the, transitions between, right? It would be to go and take a yoga class, right? And then you can offer your, input. You know the language, right? So it's like the conversations are just going to flow that much more naturally, right? But let's say you don't have any skills, or you don't have any interests that not a lot of girls like and have the same interests with, right? So my opinion on, okay, so I'm going to go on a little side tangent, but I will answer the question here in a minute. It's like, I do like online dating. I think it's convenient, and I think it's great. If you're busy, if you're, in a small town where there's not a lot of girls around, whatever the case is. But I think that it's extremely important to develop your social skills, right? Because, you could get a photographer, you could get a perfectly optimized Tinder profile, but what happens when you meet up with that girl, right? And if you're still socially awkward, she's going to be like, okay, this is kind of weird, right? Like, you need to work on your social skills, in person. So to go off of that, I would say number one is a place where you're the master of the domain, wherever it is. Two, you know a little bit about the skill, right? To at least, carry on the conversation. And three would just be the best place to approach a girl would, I mean, I do like, my favorite personally is daytime, right? So malls, going around busy shopping malls. And if you're just new to it, you could just go to a retail store and ask a girl's opinion on clothes, right? That'll just get the ball rolling. That will get you in the habit of going up and approaching, pretty girls. And, that's how I got into it, right? Was going to malls and approaching girls at malls, right? And that really helped me.
Yeah, I say go to the hospital because apparently all the nurses are having sex with each other there, so you might as well get in that.
Ooh, man, that's a secret hack right there. Okay, I'm taking notes myself here.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I remember that 'cause I was watching that movie Roadhouse the other day. You ever see that movie?
I've seen the original, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Conor McGregor remake with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
heard
I don't know.
about
If,
that,
I don't. I hope they don't destroy.
I know, me too.
Because I was thinking like when in the movie the dude gets cut up and he has to get like it looked at and the hot doctor's there and then he makes his move or whatever and he gets whatever. I always think of that, but hospitals are crazy, man. People don't talk about that. But there are some hidden things. But I would say that you got to go to where the girls are. I mean, a mall. Of course, the girls at the mall getting the perfume to smell good for me that night.
Starbucks.
Of course.
Yeah,
they're gonna get the perfume that they know that I requested them to wear. So of course they're like you got to go the way they are. You know, like
parks, anywhere.
Park could be anywhere, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, you have
As long as it's in a public place where because if you just meet up with a girl like in a place where it's you don't want to you want to just see a girl like I guess like close to a back alley and just be like, hey, because in the environment it's not a it's a positive environment. You want to be in a space where she will feel safe in. Because you're going to because a man is going to confront this woman in nowadays, especially with a lot of men, their brains are not wired properly anymore. They have been destroyed by society and its whole
and themselves, of course.
Yeah, and themselves.
Yep.
And so women will always be on the defensive. They usually will be until they know and can tell that the person that is coming up to them is a genuine person and is not going to harm them in any way. And so the best thing to do is if you're going to approach someone, it should be in a place where it's it's pretty much a public space, completely spread out, safe, but hopefully a lot of light. I mean, like if you're doing it at nighttime, you're doing it at nighttime, whatever. But in a place where that if you come up and approach them, and as long as you're doing it well, like nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to get maced. You're not going to, get, destroyed by them. They're not going to run away or like call the police on you. Like you got to do it in a place where everyone is safe regardless. You're safe. They're safe. You just go up and approach and do your thing. And you can, as long as you know what you're doing, you can probably close.
Right. So like when you first usually no matter where you are, of course I think you should be the master of your domain, absolutely. So let's say no matter where you are, what's your usual what's your idea of how you would start a conversation with a woman? Like what is your opener?
It depends really, because as of right now I don't really have like a specific opener, because again it's like I just think it comes off as too like cookie cutter, generic copy and paste. Like I will literally just kind of comment on something I see. I will, but okay, to preface that, usually, and this goes off of your point here, where it's like, making a girl feel safe, right? So before I even say what I'm going to say, I like to go, excuse me. I like to get the girl's attention first.
Right.
Yeah.
I say, excuse me, I kind of put my hands up to, make it come off as I'm not a threat, right? Like, excuse. Right. So what you were saying was really good there in that sense. But yeah, I'll say, excuse me. And then I'll just say like the first thing that comes to mind in the moment. Right. Like the other day, I saw a girl who it was like 35 degrees. Right. And she had her headphones in. This girl's walking by in all black. And I saw she was, she had headphones on. I go, excuse me. Hi. Can you hear me? I was just going to say it's an ambitious choice to be wearing all black on a day like today, right? Like I just kind of, make the shit up on the spot, but that comes with experience, right? But if I were to give my advice on like, lines to use to, or like, openers to use to girls for beginners, I would say to number one, at least convey some kind of intent, right? So you can go up and say, I thought you were cute, so I had to come up and say hi, or are you Italian? No, just random question, but you look very Italian, you look like this girl I know. What's your background, right? Because it's at least showing some kind of intent. It's showing that you're interested in the girl, because you can stop the girl, but a lot of guys have trouble like conveying that intent. They'll go up and say, where's Starbucks? Oh, yeah, like, oh, it's on this street. Okay. Yeah. So, oh, have you been to that Starbucks before? Oh, okay. And they'll sit there and they'll ask questions and they'll just talk to a girl for half an hour without conveying the actual reason why they went up and talked to a girl.
Right. And it really is a numbers game too, because you'll have all kinds of interactions, especially if you do a lot of approaches. Like, I mean, I could tell you interaction after interaction, most of them are very different. That's why it really is an art. It's not really a science, because there's so many different factors into each approach. Every interaction is basically a different story. You don't know what the girl's going through that day. You don't know the circumstances surrounding the environment. There's so many things you cannot control. The only thing you can control is your behavior, how you demonstrate yourself, the way you talk, your mouthpiece, the things you exemplify by the things you say, and just the generalized traits that you give off, that energy, the vibe, or as some little kids call it these days, there is. I really hate that word. Really don't like that word.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
We're using it, so I go by like game, kind of what game is in game.
Yeah, game pickup.
Right. That's kind of like all you are, but everything is a little bit different. That's why you have to just go with the flow, and that comes with experience. Like a lot of guys they get extremely shot down when they go up to a girl and she immediately hits them with, I'm married, I have a boyfriend. And they get super freaked out and they never want to do it again. But
Yeah.
It's one interaction, and it's not as bad as people think. People like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like how rejection kind of really makes a man feel down?
I think you really hit the nail on the head with that, because there are so many factors that are out of your control. And I don't think that, guys realize, first of all, how, emotional women are. Their emotions are like this throughout the day, right? Like I've seen, this one meme where it was like, men's emotions, right? And it's like, 3 or 4, right, throughout the day. And then, it's women's emotions. There's like, 110 different emotions, right? And it's just like, there's that stacked on top of the fact that it's like, yeah, when you go up and approach, I mean, let's leave the girls out of it for this, right? It's like, people in general, right? You don't know what's going on. Their grandma could have just got hit by a car, and then all of a sudden you're going up, hey, how's it going? And they're just like, oh, I don't really feel like speaking right now, but I kind of feel obligated, right? So it's just, you just got to, like you said, right, control what you can control. There's going to be factors out of your control. And to really sum it up, with rejection, this is the way I see it, right? Like if you don't go up and approach a girl, then you're ultimately rejecting yourself. And that is 1,000 times worse, in my opinion, than going up and getting rejected by 20 girls in a row, right? Because if you don't have the balls, if you let a girl walk by you and you're thinking, what the fuck, that is the worst feeling, just thinking that you rejected yourself, right? So, there's that, right? And then the fact that, I started treating rejection as like a learning experience rather than, like a shameful thing. If it's like a girl rejected me, okay, what can I take from that? Okay, well, you know what? I shouldn't have just blurted out, what I was going to say. I should have got her attention first. So next time I'm going to go up and approach another girl in a different way, right? I'm going to make these adjustments. Just like how a fighter sits there watching his fights, right? He got knocked out by the right hook. Next time he's going to be like, okay, well, maybe I can, put my right hand up. Maybe I'll block that. I won't do that next time, right? So it's just learning from, I'm not going to say losses, but the rejections, right? Because whether you're 500 pounds and bedridden or Drake, everybody gets rejected, right? So.
Right. And a lot of guys are worried about like approaching women as well, because it feels like they're being creepy by just even attempting. So what is your advice to guys who are really trying their best to not be creepy and to not get into any trouble? What would be your advice to that? Let's say a guy comes to you and says, hey, I want to approach these girls, but I feel like I'm being creepy in doing so. So what would you say to them?
Well, creepy, really, like what that equates to is just being socially like uncalibrated, right? So my advice for that would be to go out and actually work on your social skills, right? And this is I'm going to go back to, go back in the flying DeLorean and go back to my high school days, or just graduate just from having graduated high school. What I would do is I realized I had no social skills. I realized that girls would kind of give me that look like, when I went up and approached them. But I started realizing I was doing things like, walking up, shoulders down, hands in my pockets, not making eye contact. So the first step would be to go out, approach strangers and just say hi, and practice making eye contact, right? Practice making eye contact with everybody that you walk by, right? Because in my opinion, eye contact is the king, right? Because even when, if a guy comes up to me and talks to me and he's kind of like, looking around like this, right? I will, I'll be kind of feeling like a little weirded out, but in the back of my mind, I'll know that guy most likely is just, a little like antisocial. But girls, it's like they're thinking differently, right? It's, they might think that, but most times they're just like, okay, this guy's just creepy. Like, what does he want? Like, what is he doing? Right. So one, I would practice eye contact. Two, I would practice going up and speaking with strangers and being able to hold conversations. And, I could go on and on about it, but I would just say, yeah, just those two things: eye contact and practice going up and speaking and holding conversations with strangers.
Right. And it really does come from experience, because when you're interacting with a woman, she needs to feel that you're actually present with her, because women on every level, they like to feel heard and they like to feel engaged in something. So if you're just shouting out lines that you saw, or you're just trying to do it as a joke, you're going to sense that. Like, like seductive eye contact is a favorite of mine. Like, when I'm looking at her, she's going to know I'm that motherfucker. And this is real. Like, I am interested in you, and something's going to go down if you're interested in me. So here's my number, and we'll see what happens. Like, they're going to know I'm that guy.
And that's a good point too. And a lot of times, just by holding the right amount of eye contact, by changing the tonality in your voice too, what's not being said is more powerful a lot of times than what is actually being said. I'm curious. I want to check out some of your infield now, man.
You know what? It's interesting because we have, like, every time we plan to go out, because we live near a very social area that's actually right up the highway, and it's also like beaches near us. But every time we try to go out, his job calls him at 5 a.m. Like, okay, we're not going out because he needs at least 5 hours of sleep, and he edits like 10 hours a day, and he's like the cameraman. So yeah, like we do have plans very soon to be doing that. Yeah. Every time we try to get it out, it's like it's the technology and timing.
Like a few years ago, I think it was like I think it was around 2020, or like right around the start of the pandemic and stuff. We had a little thing going on the channel where he would talk about his cold approaches. Like he went through, I think you did like 5 or 6 of them, where you were like, okay, so I cold approached this woman. This was the interaction. This is what happened. And either you had gotten the number, you didn't get the number, and
yeah, I would just talk about it because I never filmed this. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna tell the audience and people who live real life, they're gonna know I'm telling the truth, because you would know game recognizes game. You're gonna know the guy who goes out because you've heard this stuff before. You know how it feels. So the right people are gonna know I'm telling the truth. So
yeah,
it really bothers me.
Yeah, the one where you recorded your conversation, like you had your phone like on voice memo, and you had left it in the pocket, and you just had the conversation. That was actually really funny because
thinking about the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it was the story where you were already on a date. The date wasn't going well, so you said, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom," and then you saw like this group of girls, and so you decided to hit the record button just so you could let me know, and then he went and talked to the girls. And I don't remember how that went.
I'll tell the story real quick because I like to have fun on this channel.
That was great.
Oh yeah.
I met up with a girl from, this is during the pandemic. It was like 2021, and she was actually a little bit bigger in person than her Bumble picture, so a little bit fat. I'm not really into fat chicks that much, just to be honest with you. I those are for fun only. But so I was on a date with this chick, and like we're at the bar, and like 10 minutes in, you could tell the vibe is off. I'm not really attracted to her like that. I'm just like, oh shit. Like, so I was basically just like, so you want to come back to my place or my car? Because at the time I was living with my parents. So I was like, let's just go outside, listen to some music. She's like, oh, let's just stay in here. I was like, oh god, it's so boring. So I was like, let me do something, because I already knew, because my friends were actually hanging out at his house actually at the time, and I wanted to go see my friends. I was like, forget this girl, forget the pussy. I'm gonna go see the boys. So I don't even care at this point. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. And I'm hoping maybe there's a girl I could at least approach while I'm there, just to make I'm not driving for nothing. I'm doing something tonight to make this night productive. I don't give a crap. So there was like a group of 4 girls at a table. This is like at the back of the bar, and I was sitting with my date at the front of the bar, so she can't hear anything, so everything's cool. So I go in the back, and the girls are giggling, and I have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, fuck it. There's 4 girls here. Let me just go up to all of them. Don't care. I'm leaving. I'm not leaving this place without an interesting experience. I'm gonna tell the boys a story because I'm a true bro. I give the boys entertainment because I'm just a good friend like that. So I wanted to prove to them that like this actually happened. So I put my phone in my pocket and put the video on. I just let the video run, and the phone was in my pocket. So I go up to the girls, and I say, I interrupt. I say, "Excuse me," and they're all laughing, like, "Oh, what?" I was like, "Hey, so which one of you is single?" And they're like, "Oh," they're like pointing at each other. Well, she is kind of is, but she's in a situation. But they're all fucking somebody. Bottom line, and I'm just like, what's your name? So I just like picked one out of the group. She's like, "Oh, my name's Elena or something." I was like, "Oh, listen, I just thought you were super cute. I'm about to go see some friends, but let me get your number so we can hang out sometime. I'm trying to get to know you a bit." And then the girls were like, "Oh, you just picked the hottest one of the group." And I was like, "Yeah." I kind of just like I don't care. I don't care. And they're like, "Oh, I don't think that's gonna work." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's all good. Well, listen, if you change your mind, let me give you my card. You can call me if you want." But they're like, "No, we're good." I was like, "All right, cool, bye." So left that, but I wasn't even nervous. I was like, whatever. At least I did something. I'm gonna make, And then I went to go tell the boys everything I showed in the video, and everybody started laughing. Everybody's night made. So I try to make the best of anywhere I go. I bring myself to my environment. That's what a lot of guys don't realize. No matter where you go, you're still you. You need to have that blind level of ruthlessness, confidence. So like
there were 2 really, really big things I just gathered from that are so key and so essential. And like one is the fact that a lot of guys, I find a lot of dating coaches, a lot of guys in general, they want to hide their losses, right? It's just like, oh yeah, I'm able to go up and get every girl's number I talk to, right? And it's the biggest load of shit, right? And there's that, and then there's also the fact that it's like you're so like unapologetically yourself. You're like, hey, this is me, take it or leave it, but fuck it, right? You're not trying to be somebody. You're not trying to, say what's going to impress her. You're just you, and if she doesn't like it, hey, fuck it, on to the next.
Exactly. A lot of guys, they fold easily, especially in front of an attractive woman. So, I mean, would you used to be like that? Were you a little less confident? It kind of took you a long time to get a little bit better with that? Because I know for some guys, it takes a lot of time and experience to really gain their confidence.
Yeah, for sure. No, I was like that. I was like, okay, you know what? Instead of, and I find it's like, again, like we talked about earlier, it's like girls can see right through it, right? If a girl,
they're not dumb.
Exactly. Yeah, they're very socially calibrated, right? Like let's use this for example, right? Like back in the day, if a girl were like, "Oh yeah, I like Game of Thrones," I'd be like, "Oh yeah, me too. It's like my favorite show," even though I haven't seen an episode, right? And then all of a sudden, it's just like, "Oh yeah, I really like the episode where blah blah blah," and I'll be like, "Yeah, well, I really like this episode," too. And I'd just be bullshitting, right? But nowadays, it's like, really, you like Game of Thrones? Breaking Bad is the best show. Like like I would be so afraid to like playfully kind of disagree. I would never disagree with a girl, right?
I was disagreeing.
I like that. I like that.
I'd be like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't care what you say. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is the best show ever. I don't care what you say. I don't care about that 70s show. I don't care about The Simpsons. Nah, Fresh
We're
Prince.
friends.
Uncle Phil. If you don't agree with it, we can't be friends.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't be in my bed. Like if you're not like if you don't know about Uncle Phil.
I have strict boundaries here, okay?
I'm saying that matters. We're gonna get to boundaries very soon. But I want to know what your opinion is, like actual real life talking to girls versus what you see on the internet. So what are your thoughts on that? Like versus the things that are, because the internet's a lot of bullshit right now. So it's very hard to distinguish between what's real, what's fake, what's scripted, what's authentic. Everything is so mixed up right now. So what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, I mean, there's the old saying, it's like believe, none of what you hear and half of what you see, right? So, I mean, are you speaking in a general sense or just like in terms of, like infields, like guys approaching girls?
I'll say a little bit of both. Both come to mind.
Okay, well, yeah, it's like, when you see something, like we'll talk about infield first, where it's like, if a guy's going up and approaching a girl, it's like if something seems a little off, it usually is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? And as you guys know, it's like, you can edit anything out, right? Like the fact that you can chop something down and, take little bits and pieces of this and that, right? And, put together a story. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me see it in real life, right? Like I was really blown away by, some fitness models that I saw in real life, right? And it's like, on Instagram, you see them under like the perfect lighting after a pump, right? Like they're standing under the perfect light.
Right.
And then you see them in person and it's like they look like a completely different person, right?
Yeah.
I've literally seen girls, like I'll have them on Instagram, and I will see them upload a photo at work, and I see them in person, and then I see the photo that they've uploaded, and I'm looking, and it's like two different people, right? So it's like, in my opinion, you need to see it in person, right? Like it's very hard to believe something that you see online, right? Or, just the raw, uncut footage of something.
Right.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna try to do is when we do our infields, we're gonna try to make it as raw as possible and not try to cut anything out at all. Just because we want to prove that we are authentic. Like you can tell, like what we do and what we say is what we mean. And
Yeah.
so, like we want to make sure that no one can try to be like, oh, this is bullshit. No,
Yeah.
this is how it is.
And when a girl rejects you, that's good because you save
Yes.
time. A lot of guys actually get too many women in the sense that they are getting women that don't even like them for them. Some women, it's either not even gold diggers, it's just women, because a lot of guys are just fake and they don't even realize they're being fake. So let's say you lie. Okay, perfect example. You just want to fuck. So you tell this girl, she says, "What are you looking for in the dating app?" You say, "Oh, I'm, maybe really get to know someone, maybe a relationship." You're giving out those, "I want to take you out on 5 dinner dates. Maybe we'll have sex one day. Maybe we'll have kids." You're giving that kind of vibe. And when you see her, you're just trying to smash. You just, I just right? So a girl's perception of you is that, oh, he's such a nice guy. He wants to take me out. This could be, marriage material. And then you go out, you're just like, "Yo, spread your legs." She's like, "Wait, what? Yo, what?"
What?
Right. Yeah. Where did that come
You're
from?
kind of like lying to yourself in a way, because a lot of guys they lie to themselves, they delude themselves. But I prefer to get the rejection done quickly as possible, so we can save the most important time. The most important factor we have in life, which is time. Fire in which we all burn. So saving time is great, and the faster I can get the rejection in, the faster we can go back to work. So it doesn't even, But how did you handle rejection before, and how do you handle rejection now?
I really love what you just said there, right? You can save yourself time. You're turning it into a positive, right?
Right.
Before, like, I kind of put off approaching girls for the longest time because I was just so afraid of getting rejected, right? And to be honest, I never really told anybody this, but when I first got in shape, when I first, dropped those pounds, it's like, I was walking around and I was just, I was in a like I'd get these compliments from girls, I never got before, right? But I would be so, like, my ego was so big that it's like, I'd be so afraid to go up to a girl in front of my friends and potentially get rejected that it's just like I wouldn't even do it, right? So it's just like, then I thought, like, what the fuck, like, what am I doing, right? And then I started framing it in the sense of like, okay, you know what, like, I'm missing out. Girls are just going to walk right by, or they'll give you like a subtle sign that they want you to approach them. But it's just like, I just came to the realization that it's like, yeah, everybody gets rejected. It doesn't matter. People will try to hide it, but fuck it, go up. And again, it's like, what I said earlier, where it's just like, if you don't go up and approach, you're just rejecting yourself. Right. And that is the worst feeling. So,
Exactly. Now, let's say you're in a conversation and you could tell that it's starting to go down and you can tell it's not really vibing well. What are your ways of sparking up a dead conversation?
Okay. So a lot of times, and the thing is, you kind of have to gauge the situation, right? So I'm assuming that, you're speaking in terms of like, let's say I just walked up and talked to a girl, right? Or am I on a date with a girl?
I would say in the initial approach, I would say, because that's the main
Okay.
thing, because that can really set the tone for the rest of the relationship, is the beginning, the first impression, how you come up and how the first ever conversation can actually dictate the rest of the relationship. But that's some deep game right there.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Setting the frame. But yeah, like, so there's two things here that I can go off. One would, this is a mistake that I got into a lot when I was just getting into game, right? Is, I would go up and I'd approach the girl, I'd see those eyes light up, she'd be interested, and then I'd be carrying on the conversation, and then slowly but surely she'd get disinterested, maybe start looking at her phone, and I could feel that, right? I'd be like, oh fuck, this girl is not interested in the conversation. Like, what do I do? And I'd start scrambling and I just start saying whatever came to mind. But that was because I was just, having overall boring conversations, and I was lacking intent. I was lacking showing the girl that, I'm interested in you, right? I was just asking all these generic questions. So one would be to make the conversation less about me and more about her, right? So instead, oh yeah, I do this, I do that, I make this amount of money. It's more like, oh, so what are you doing here? Okay, well, you have a very interesting style. What's your story? Are you a model, right? And then you start to get to know the girl, get her to open up more about her, right? So ask her more questions about her as opposed to talk about you, right? And so to answer that question, it would really be like, you versus me. And honestly, like I like to try to keep myself as much of a mystery as possible. I want to make her pry out the information, right? I want to make her talk more about her. And number two is, if a girl's showing that she's not interested, like let's say I were to go up and approach a girl, and let's say this is her phone, right? I'm going up and approaching a girl. Oh, hey, and she's looking at her phone. I say something. Yeah, it's pretty good, right? And she's just not really giving me attention.
Right.
If I usually give it about a minute and a half tops, and then if she's not really showing me that she's interested in the conversation, then I'll just say, all right, well, take care, and I'll just leave.
Even if I'm on a date with a girl, I'm like a massive troll because I don't give a shit. I love to make things as fun as possible. That's just the kind of guy I am. I'm not gonna die without an amazing life. So let's say I'm on a date with a girl and she's on her phone. I'm like, get off that phone. I know you want to come and kiss me. I'll just say something. Even if I didn't never kiss you, I'm just gonna say something outrageous, something like crazy. I don't even care. And she's probably gonna. Usually, I just get a laugh or a chuckle, but it does distract them and kind of reinvest them. So I like to reinvest the girl, but I'll do that by just being myself, because I have like Andrewisms. So I just say outrageous things. Mike can confirm this.
I can confirm
because Mike
this.
because I like to have Mike as my witness for everything I do. Because that way, if something bad happens to me, God forbid, Mike is going to tell the story of the Andrew. He's going to tell the story of how I lived my life.
I'll sit everybody down by the fire and explain the long
Take
story.
a seat, guys.
This is going to be
This
a
could
long
be a doozy.
this is going to be the greatest American Pie sequel you've ever heard that was never made. So, I like to just you have to make things fun as well. And a lot of times you can reinitiate or kind of redo the vibe by just saying something that comes from the heart, something from the mind that really just can spike things up.
Yeah.
So when you're in an interaction, and let's say you're trying to get the phone number, what's your best ways to get a phone number? Because there's actually a few different ways to go about it. Do you have a certain way you do, or does it just depend on the context?
Yeah, so it really just depends, right? Like if I go up and talk to a girl, the first thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to gauge well, not the first thing, but throughout the conversation, I'm trying to gauge what she's up to in that current moment, right? Because let's say that I'm not busy, I don't have anything to do providing that. If she gives me an answer like, oh, I'm just, out on my day off and enjoying the weather, then at that moment, I know I don't have to really get the number. I can take her on an Insta date, right? But if she's like, oh, well, my friend's going to come here in a minute, we're supposed to go grab drinks, she's running late, then I'm thinking, okay, I got about a minute to grab her number and then, dash, right? So depending on how much time I have, I'll try to seed an activity, right? And that could be as basic as, oh, you like thrillers? Okay, well, have you seen this movie? Okay, well, I say, how about this? If you're feeling adventurous enough, we can watch this movie, and we'll do it on, sometime next week. Here, let me grab your number, and then I'll give her my phone. Or I will, I always make sure to give her a statement, right? It's just okay, well, you know what? I'm going to grab your number before I leave. Unfortunately for you, I have to get going. But I make sure it's the way that I say it comes across as if, yeah, I already knew she was going to give me her number anyways, right? As opposed to, I hope she gives me her number. Can I get your number?
Assume success.
Yeah.
Now we do have a question in here that definitely is probably important. I feel like we should talk about. So Nishan says, should I ask for Insta or number? So I would also incorporate Snapchat in here too, stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, I would say you can go first. I'll give my answer next.
Yeah, so it's funny because my buddy is the king of Snapchat and wheeling girls over at Snapchat. He's got a whole advanced tutorial on that. I don't know anything about Snapchat personally. I don't have Snapchat, so I would never ask for a girl's Snapchat. But when it comes down to Instagram and number, I would say in most cases number, because a lot of guys really don't have their Instagram catered to work for them. They have it catered to work against them. So I would say in 95% of cases, always ask for the number.
Agreed.
Because also too, to go off of that, right? A girl is going to give out her number to less people than her Instagram, right?
Yep.
Instagram, you're just going to give her all this, unearned validation and attention. And a lot of times, she won't even see you in the inbox if you didn't make an impression, right? I mean, sometimes you might, but it's just like, I would 100, like I said, 95% of the time, go for the number over the Insta for sure.
Yeah, like if I know I'm gonna get an Insta, I'm gonna be like, you know what, let's do this. Because I'm a very opportunistic man. So if I have to go Instagram mode, if I really have to go that route, I'm like, all right, give me your phone. I'm gonna put my Instagram in your phone, and you're gonna follow me. I'm not gonna follow you. You're actually gonna give me. I'm trying to get my reputation up. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna follow me. So when I do DM you, you're gonna see it. So I'll do that because I gotta be that guy. So I might as well. So I'll get a follower. Sure, I don't mind. Doesn't hurt my reputation.
You're telling. You're like, hey, you know what? This is how it's gonna be. Can I please get your Instagram?
I have my own. That's what I'm saying. But they have to have their own system, their own style, the way they want to structure things. So that's my way. If I go for the number. But if I'm getting the Instagram, I'm gonna do it my way. Or if we go through the Snapchat route, what I do is like if I'm really into the girl, like she's really attractive, and I really want to get the number, what I'll do is she'll be like, how about I give you my Snapchat? And I'll say, you know what? Well, I only get the Snapchats of girls that I don't really take seriously, like booty call stuff and like that. So how about I get your number so I know to take you a little bit more seriously? And she'll be like, what the fuck? she's never heard of a guy. Because once again, that's just an aneurysm. That's something I would do. Mm-hmm. So that's just my style. So she's never heard anything like that before. So that automatically sets me apart from the rest of all the motherfuckers that are coming up here and trying to get the number. So I'm going to put my shot out there. And that's the way I did it. And if she's not cool with it, well, all right, I'll get your Snapchat, but I can't guarantee I'll respond. So, but hey, maybe we'll meet again. And I'll just call it a day. And then 5 minutes later, I'll probably be talking to another girl anyway. Or I'm setting up sex with another girl that night. So it doesn't really matter.
Do you prefer clubs or do you prefer like day game? Like what's your ideal scenario to approach a girl?
Well, if I'm with like the friends and we're going out, yeah, I mean bars, clubs, even though I prefer to just go regular bars that do not cost any money to get in because society is scamming motherfuckers to the extent right now. And I'm trying not to be a statistic, just some other worldview. So I'll go to like a regular bar and I'll like, if I see a girl drinking something, my usual go-to is I'll comment on her drink. Say, oh, what are you drinking over there? Oh, it's a Long Island bullshit vanilla, whatever. And I'll say, oh man, you got to get the green tea shot. That's where it's at. That's my thing. I like green tea shots, so I'm going to implement my. So she's like, "Oh, okay," and then we'll go off from there, and wherever the conversation spikes. So that's usually how I do it. And if she says some bullshit like, "Want to buy me a drink?" I'm like, "Well, we'll get to that later." I'll just ignore that because you don't have to take everything a girl says seriously. That's some shit that people don't say on YouTube. You don't have to take everything a girl says to heart. You got to be playful, have fun, and implement what you're about in there. And if she's receptive to you, she's gonna like it. She's gonna find you very amusing, and you're going to make her wet later on, so it doesn't really matter. And day game is kind of like, like if I'm in my regular day-to-day life, because I go to ShopRite for my grass-fed, grass-finished meat.
ShopRite is just a normal grocery store, by the way.
Yeah, because we very healthy on this channel, so I'm going to get the real shit. So I'll be getting my grass-fed beef, and so if I'm doing that, or my pasture-raised eggs, right? Shout out to Healthy Nutrition.
Okay, so sorry, I'm going to cut you off real briefly there because I've just really gotten into this stuff like as of 3 weeks ago, right? Like pasture raised eggs, grass fed, right? Like I've completely changed my mind on nutrition, and I love that you said that because a lot of people they're like, what the fuck? What do you mean you're pasture raised eggs?
But people don't know, man.
Nutrition's important. Nutrition's very important.
I lost 70 pounds, man. Mikey lost 50.
I've lost a lot of weight multiple times over.
Multiple times.
Every time he goes on vacation.
So what I do is like he started doing like the ketogenic diet and stuff, and then eventually he got me into doing it, and then I got successful in it, and so I lost I think like 60 to 70 pounds in my initial thing, but every year I would go on a family vacation, and so when I go on family vacations, everything's on the table. I don't really care. I'll eat whatever. There was a vacation where I went on that in 2 weeks I gained 20 pounds, and then
not bad. Okay.
And then in literally that next week that I came home, I lost like 15 of those pounds because I went right back to the grind and pretty much just lost a lot of that weight like almost instantly. And it's just another thing with nutrition as well is that it really helps boost your positivity and boost like the morale that you have within yourself. And because I've noticed a lot when the pandemic first started and everything was getting locked down,
except us, of course, we didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, so we would go running every day, like literally
Nice.
every day, rain or shine, didn't matter.
Hmm.
We went and did like a 3 mile run. And so on these runs, we'd walk, we'd bump into people like every so often, like we one or two people every so often. And it was funny because when we would go, I would just start saying hi to people. And I was like super shredded. I was feeling really good about myself and like about what we were doing. And I was saying hi to people. And back in the day, and even Andrew looked at me, as like, "You're talking to
I
people
was
right
like, you
now?"
said good morning to that guy. You know
Yeah.
that? You said
Mm.
You say good morning. I was like, yeah, like I'm feeling good. Like that's just how it is. And that's because of healthy nutrition and just
Oh,
being on your grind.
and for the fellas that are watching right now, I honestly could I could talk to you guys about nutrition and pick your brains about that for an hour, and we'll have to do that at another time, because
Oh yeah.
I don't think guys realize how important nutrition is, like nutrition and exercise.
Yep.
It helps so much with your mental focus and clarity when you're trying to speak to a girl. Like if you go up and speak to a girl and you're all carved up and you've just ate like a high sugary meal, it's like your brain is so
Oh,
foggy, it's so weighed
Yes.
down. It's like good luck trying to carry a conversation and lead a girl with
Right.
all that shit that you've just eaten weighing you down, right? So like you just said, right, where it's like you got in shape, you were feeling really good, and then you like you don't have to think as much. You're not in your own head. You just feel great. And it's like, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you get great results, right? So,
No, we definitely have to
exactly.
do a part 2 in fun, because that's such an important. That could be another. That's
Yeah.
a 2 hours
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
yeah, easy.
Talking about
Mhm.
nutrition is just an easy,
Right. But
easy
yeah.
conversation right
But
there.
I'd
going,
love to. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. So going back to the thing, yeah, like usually when I'm in my day to day life, that's when because I'm not because a lot of time Mike and I we both work like 50 hours at least, and we do the editing and we do the videos. So my method for day game is simply approaching women when I'm out running my errands. So if I'm at
Mhm.
the laundromat, if I see a girl, go talk to her. If I'm going to ShopRite, getting my health and nutrition, I'm going to say hi to a girl as long as she's not with her husband, because I don't feel like dealing with that. And if I am at the mall, if I'm getting my phone screen fixed because I am clumsy, I'm going to go in the Apple store. If I wherever I go, if I decide to go to a Starbucks for a black coffee when I'm fasting, cheap pro
Yep.
tip,
Pro tip,
then
pro
I
tip.
will talk to a girl in the Starbucks line. So people should utilize their day to day life and as an advantage. Now, I want to talk real quick about dressing appropriate, because when you dress for success at all times, you're actually more likely to approach the girl because you
Ooh.
are more confident in your own skin. So actually, can
Mhm.
you go into that a little bit? Actually,
Yeah, so with you really got to find like what works for you, right?
right.
And I'm not the poster child for like, what's, men's fashion 2023,
I
right?
mean,
I don't
No, we're
it,
neither of us.
I wear
you
a
know,
t-shirt and shorts and but it's who I am. So I'm naturally gonna be like, all right, cool. But everybody has their own style. So you need to find out what you like to wear. And then wherever you go in your day-to-day life, if you're feeling good, you're eating healthy, you're in a positive mindset, go talk to that girl. You have nothing to
yeah.
lose. In fact, I try to twist it as she has everything to lose by not saying yes. If she says no,
Mm.
if she does not want the number, then you know what? I'm sorry that it's unfortunate that you said no.
Mhm.
And I'm
And
not
and
for you. You just missed out on a great movie night. You missed out on the Jack
mhm.
Daniel's Fire that I have in my cabinet. It's the greatest whiskey of all time. You're missing
Ooh.
out on the leather couch. You're missing out on the sexy music I have when you walk in. You're missing out on being with a man that makes you feel like a sexy woman. Now, a lot of women are not. They're not with the guys who make them feel like women. That's a big problem. But that's a worldview. That's a society thing. We can get into that later. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about the number again. So like, can you explain, like, because a lot of guys, they think that when they get the phone number, they secure the
Mm.
package. But these days, compared to the old days when you get the house phone and you have to call her dad first, like, hey, is Alex home? This is the guy from Costco, and her dad's gonna be like, the
Yeah.
fuck? Like that was in the 80s, right? Things a little bit different now. A lot of guys get really butthurt because if they text a girl that they got the number from, even if they thought the interaction was going good, they might not get a text message back, and that
Mm.
really puts them down. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is like obviously you're not going to be able to have like a, flirty conversation with a girl right out of the gate, right? So a good question to ask yourself when you leave a conversation with a girl is, did I speak to her? Did we have a conversation as if I were just speaking to a male acquaintance? If the answer is yes, that could be a reason why she's not being very receptive or she's not responding to your text. Now, granted, the good thing about day game is it separates you from the pack of guys, right? Like I've had, conversations in my past before with girls where I've gone up, I've stuttered, I've done everything fundamentally wrong, but I've gotten a girl to answer my text just because I had the confidence. She told me that, she liked the confidence that I had to go up and speak to her, because nobody is doing this these days, right? Like 99% of guys don't have the balls to go up and approach girls, right? So it's like, just by doing that, by being able to go up and speak to a girl, then you're already separating yourself, from the average guy during the day, right? Because, what guys are doing that, right? But yeah, it's like, when you get her number, it's, sometimes, yeah, you're not going to get a response back, or you're going to get
It's
a
okay.
delayed response back. And yeah, it's okay. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
But
you just got to not really take it too personally.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
have to have like an abundance mentality in that aspect. And I mean, in every aspect, I feel like men should just have an abundance mentality, whether it's with women or pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So like, if you got a number and you texted her and you didn't get a text back, it's like, okay, I can just get another girl's number and just keep getting girls' numbers, and one of them will text back. It's one of them will at some
Yeah.
point.
And,
Like,
and a good thing to add on to that too is, yeah, I realize, a lot of the fellas out there, maybe some guys that, watch this, right? They'll be thinking, oh, well, you know what? Like, I'm not really speaking to a lot of girls. I don't really have access to a lot of girls in my life. There's this one girl from school that I talk to, but that's it, right? You have to, in the beginning, you kind of have to carry yourself as if you did have other options, right? So if you did have other options, you wouldn't be sitting there responding to a girl's text. She texted me, and you wouldn't be, texting her back within 30 seconds, right? You'd be, giving that time, right? And again, it's like some guys, they might not be active, they might not be at the gym, they might not have a job, right? They might be sitting home shooting off, who knows? But the thing is like, you have to operate as if you were busy and as if you had an abundant mindset. And then, you take those rules over to texting, right? You're not answering the text. You're not sending her good morning text every single day, right? It's, you're taking time to respond.
You ever have those situations like when you're actually on a date with a girl and you're about to smash, and then all the other girls, then they start texting you back. It's like, oh my God, like your phone's vibrating. Well, because that happens to me. I don't know why that happens to me every time. Like I'll hit up 3 girls and none of them will answer, and then I get a different girl. She comes back to my place. We're hanging out. My phone's going off on the couch. The girl's looking over. I'm always curious on who's he talking to? And like if a girl's really into you, that's some deep game right there. What to do when it goes into getting rid of girls is actually harder than getting them sometimes. That's a whole nother discussion. That's a lot of game right there.
This actually, and I'm curious to see what you say to that. So like if a girl's doing this, right? Are you like trying to hide it? Like, oh no, it's just my uncle. It's just my mom text, right? No. Or do you just like,
Definitely the second option, because the truth is I don't give a fuck. If a girl should, I mean, if a girl's into you, there's something in her brain that says, okay, well, if I think this guy's sexy, there's probably other girls that think he's sexy too. So all you're really doing is confirming that she's smart. Mm-hmm. Which, give it confidence, fuck it. Like if my phone's going, because oh God, I can say story after story. It goes just like, oh, who's texting you? Don't worry about it. Anyway, like I just play it off. I mean, I'll give an answer based on the context or how I'm feeling. Like I'll troll massively. I'm like, oh, like if it's a girl, like I'm fucking constantly. I'm like, oh, it's just one of my other hoes. And I'm like, what?
Just casually say.
Like she knows I'm being serious, but she also knows that I'm just that guy. She knows I'm fucking. Girls are not stupid, as we've said before. Like they know if you're having sex with other girls, and if they like you, they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll join you. I mean, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and it almost, it helps, it plays to your advantage, the fact that it's like it shows pre-selection right there. Like if you're walking, into a club and you're going around speaking to other guys, other girls are going up and talking to you, putting their hand on your shoulder, right? Girls will see that, and it only adds to your sexual appeal, right? It's that abundance, or not that abundant, the pre-selection, right? So with the phone as well too, if your phone's going off left, right, and center, you see Nicole come up, you see Sarah come up, you see Agatha come up, and then it's just like, okay, well, hey,
Yeah, I'll give a quick story to that, because Mike loves the story.
I do.
I don't care what anyone. Mike loves the story. I remember the first time. This was like in 2020. No, it might have been before that. This was the first time I really discovered that girls actually don't mind if you have other options. So I was in my backseat of my car, just had finished having sex with this girl, because most of my girls I've been with has been in my backseat, because I live with my parents. I can't have girls over. That was most of my life before, and they used to be me. So I was, just got done, and I'm trying to get rid of her because I'm not really feeling her anymore, and I need to make room for the new girls that I'm trying to hang out with, and I don't have time to be hanging out with 6 girls. I can't be doing all that. So I'm trying to actively get rid of some. So I was just like, we're in my backseat naked, and then she's like, and I was like, so what did I say? I was like, what kind of like, how do you feel about me seeing other girls? And no, well, I asked her first, are you seeing any other guys? That's what, right? And she was like, oh no, I'm not really seeing any other guys. Now I knew she was going to ask me the same question back because girls are naturally curious when you bring up that kind of stuff. So this was me kind of placating on that. So I said, are you seeing any other guys? And usually I don't ask that, but if I'm trying to get rid of a girl to try to get, yeah, I would say it. And she's like, no, I'm not. How about you? Are you seeing any other girls? Now I thought that if I told her I was, she was gonna be like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. And she was gonna leave and I get rid of her. Cool. Good. Now I have more time for the other girls. So I told her, yeah, I'm seeing like 6 other girls right now, which was true at the time. And she was like, oh, she was like shocked. But she was like, well, as long as as long as you're wearing protection, I just don't want to get an STD. I was like, you kidding me? I thought you were gonna get up and leave, get angry, and I'm gonna be free from you. I thought I was gonna get rid of one. But she was okay with it. And I was like, oh, well, that didn't work. So I just had sex a couple more times. And then, she really wanted something serious. And I was like, no. But more of the story, if it goes into you, a lot of times she don't even care unless she really wants to get serious. And then sometimes you have to let them go. Because I've had to let girls go because they want something really serious and they want me to be monogamous. But right now, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying my life. And if you don't know who you are, you're going to fall for that shit. And they're going to know it.
100%.
Do you think it's better to meet women off like the street or online? Because I know a lot of guys are getting comfortable out here. This online stuff.
Okay. I've had a couple of rough experiences online in terms of like the girl shows up and she's like 20 pounds heavier and it's like false advertisement up the wazoo and it's like
it's fake news.
Oh yeah. So now what I do is I actually don't even have Tinder or Hinge. I only have Bumble. Okay. And it's because my buddy was fucking around on my account and got my 2 accounts banned. And I don't even know how, like, it's just such an extensive process to get it unbanned. So I've just been too lazy. So I only have Bumble. But anyways, yeah. So like I've had too many experiences where I've met up with a girl and, she's 30 pounds heavier. She's using photos from 6 years ago. And then you're just like, oh, fuck. So now what I do is if I'm going to meet up with a girl online, I will video chat for like 10 minutes just to see if she's the real deal, if we vibe. And then, because you can kind of get a sense of somebody, when you're speaking to them and you're hearing their voice versus through text, right? So, yeah, like that's just a good way to, like you said earlier, right? Save time, time. Time is the fire in which we all burn. Yeah, because you don't want to go out on a date with a girl and it's just like you're sitting there and it's just like, well, what the fuck? Like this isn't, the girl that I thought. Or you don't want to invite a girl over who, from Bumble or Tinder and it's just like, oh, well, fuck. Like now I got to go down this 2.6 of vodka just to, bear her presence.
The guy doesn't realize because what a guy sees online is ass and tits. But then when they meet the girl in real life and they go on a date with her, they realize she's boring. You don't connect on any level at all. The conversation is silent. You don't vibe with her. She eats like a pig and you're healthy. So can't go off that unless she follows you. But that's more game. Yeah. But sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's a funny point. Like, for like if you actually are conscious with what goes into your body, you're into healthy, active living, right? Like I had to cut a girl off recently who, she ate like shit and she didn't go to the gym, right? And it's just like she wasn't fat or anything. She had a pretty face, but like, a stick body, right? And it's like I told her, I even brought her to the gym with me once, and it's like, I'm trying to get her into doing squats and, I'm showing her what to do. And it was like pulling teeth to get her to go to the gym. And, she just would eat popcorn and candy. And, every time she did make food, it was like something out of a package. Here you go, have some. And it's just like, oh.
I've actually done experiments because I like to see change in people. And I'm also just, as I said, I'm very opportunistic. So I've actually like not dated, but, I've had friends with benefits that are kind of like fat girls and a couple months fucking me. And they lost like 50 pounds because they are influenced by my personality. So they see me eating healthy. If they're going to come to my house, all they see is pasture-raised eggs. Like, do you have any Pop-Tarts? No, we don't do
good
that.
Shit.
Yeah, we don't do Pop-Tarts here. We don't do Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We ain't about that. If you want me to cook something, we're having a cheese omelet with a side of bacon and a porterhouse steak. And that's it. So she's like, wait, you eat healthy? So actually, a powerful man's influence could be could transform a whole entire woman's life. Like a lot of people don't realize the impact you can have as a man to a woman. Like it goes a lot deeper than just approaching a girl, getting her number, smashing. It actually goes into a deeper level on the unconscious mind. The influence you can have over a woman, you can transform a woman into the greatest woman she'll ever be by her being with you as that guy. A lot of people don't understand that. Like it's not just about the sex; it's about literally you can literally influence a woman to be a better woman if you're that you know who you are and you have a healthy mindset about you. That's what I like about your videos. That when I see you approaching the girls, it just looks like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Like there may be a camera secretly recording, but you're actually. It seems like your body language, the way you're in there, which is why I like it. It actually seems like you're just generating an aurora of positivity, and the girls could sense that. Which is why I think no matter what, you're just enjoying what you're doing, which is I can accommodate that. That's a great thing to be doing at all, Just
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's what it is too. It's like, it's not like going on a date with a girl should not be like pulling teeth, right? It's not like, and it shouldn't be like, like you're at a job interview, right? Because that's what a lot of guys treat it as. It's like they're trying to qualify to a position and they're sitting there like nervous about it, and it's just like it's stressful as opposed to just have fun, right? Don't treat it as a job interview. In fact, flip that shit on its head. It's like, okay, treat it as if, okay, I'm going to see if me and this girl are going to get along. I'm going to see if I like this girl rather than, oh, I'm going to try to convince this girl that I'm the best guy. I'm this and that, right? It's like, no,
Yeah, like just a quick game question actually to a sideline. So let's say you're on a date and a girl asks you, "What do you do for work?" How do you usually respond? Because I'll give my answer after, but I'm just curious of your thoughts because I like to switch things up. So like what do you like? What's a answer you usually give when a woman says, "Oh, what do you do for work?" Like, do you like to make it fun, or you just give her the basic?
I keep it vague, or depending on the girl. Sometimes I'll say I'm a male stripper, and then see like what responses come about. But in general, and I've been trying that one recently, and it's actually been working wonders. But like usually my go-to answer was, yeah, I work in film and TV. And then what about you? What do you do? And then I just switch it, right? I keep it vague because then I've planted that in their head. Film and TV, okay. So what does that mean exactly, right? So yeah, like I like to try to be mysterious. What about you? What's your go-to?
I have a couple. So like for example, like a lot of because I used to just give the answer back in the day, but when you get a good amount of experience and you do the same thing over and over, when you go on dates like a lot, you just don't feel like saying what you do for work. You just don't give a fuck to say. You don't because it really doesn't matter anyway. If you're trying to smash, that's the least. You think working at a power plant's gonna make her pussy wet? No, stop. So because a lot of guys, that's a whole other conversation. But if a girl asks, say, so what do you do for work? I'll say, well, what I usually do for work is I make girls named Lisa smile. So that's my main job. So like I'll say something like funny like that, or I'll just be like, oh, I can't really tell you that yet. You have to get to know me a little bit better to know. So I'll kind of do that because it kind of like what? So I don't even like, and then once again I'll switch it back up to her because I like to get her talking more. I like what you said about like being kind of more of a mysterious because you don't need to tell her what you're actually because it doesn't really she doesn't give a fuck. Let's be honest. If you're on a first date with a girl, she says, "What do you do for work?" Unless like you're maybe an actor or something, like unless it's something like really big or something very special. Most of the time, like I'm a manager at McDonald's. I am a stocker at this. I stock alcohol. Like I mean, whatever it may be, or I do construction. Okay, cool. And next question. It doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and to play off that a bit too is like, a lot of guys will come off from this like qualifying frame, right? And they'll try to there's not really a good way to come off, right? It's like they'll either try to over qualify or they'll come off as like, they're not really secure in their job, right? So like with the McDonald's worker, right? It could go one of two ways. Either it's like, well, I work at McDonald's, but I'm actually the manager and I work such long hours. And let me tell you, it's like, holy shit. Like I really got to lay down the hammer. I put so many people in their place. I just had to fire this guy last week, right? They try to qualify or they'll be like, yeah, I work at McDonald's,
Yeah.
and yeah, exactly. And they themselves like are not confident in saying that answer. Right. So it's just like, oh,
yeah.
Like,
I'll for I serve the public. That could mean anything. That gets the idea or something in her head.
Public.
I serve the public. What do you mean? Anyway, so what do you do? Anything? And then she'll probably forgot anyway. She'll talk about herself again. So there are certain things that you can do to make a conversation the most memorable conversation she'll ever have with a man. That's the power of getting yourself out there and practicing consistency and actually talking to a lot of girls. It gives you that wide variety of thoughts and things to say. Because I've watched some of your infield, and some of the way you carry your conversation, the only way you got that way is because you put the time and effort to actually develop your social charisma and your social skills, which I think is such a critical thing guys need to be working on. If you really want to go talk to women, there is no cheat code, but you cannot read The Game by Neil Strauss and go out and just pull 9s and 10s or 11s. It doesn't work like that. You need to put some time, some effort, some type at least. You need to understand, first of all, who you are and what you're giving out into the universe and see what you get back. A lot of people don't want to do any of that work. They don't want to watch the infield. They don't want to actually go out and do it themselves. They'd rather do like the quick fix. They want to buy someone's course. Now that I've watched 10 hours of this course, now I can do it. Now I can fight. It's like, no. This takes time, my friend. It takes consistency. And you actually have to go talk to women. You actually have to go through the force. You literally have to go through it. Otherwise, you're not going to know. You're not going to, or you could just, talk shit on the internet or whatever.
It's funny because me and my buddy were having a similar conversation about this the other day, and we're both huge UFC fans, right?
Right.
And so we're talking, and we're saying it's like even when I first got into pickup and stuff, I would watch video after video. Okay, this is the line to say. This is how to overcome approach anxiety. This is how to get over rejection. This is how to carry on a conversation. I would sit there for hours and hours and hours watching videos, and then I would go out, and then I'd go up and approach a girl, and I'd be trying to remember all this shit, and it's like, whoa, like it was just information overload. You can't stay present. You're thinking, okay, but what did that guy say about approach? And then she's talking. She sees that you're not present anymore, and it just throws off the whole interaction. It's like if I wanted to become a UFC fighter and I just watched, UFC 1 to UFC 278 or whatever they're up to now, if I just watched all those fights and then I went and signed up to a gym, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's go. I've watched UFC. Let's go. And I go to fight this guy. Obviously, I would get my ass kicked. Right, I'd be fighting him. I'd be like, "Oh, what did Brock Lesnar do in that one fight?" And then I'd be thinking about that. And it's like you need to get out there and actually apply it.
Yeah, for a lot of guys that love like the indignation, the drama. So, what are some of the worst rejections you've ever gotten that come to mind?
It's crazy. It's crazy because I don't honestly think, and I was trying to think about this the other day. I don't think I've gotten anything like beyond like I have a boyfriend. I'm really, I really want to stop and consider that. I really want to think. Like that's really the worst is no, I have a boyfriend, right out of the gate, right? You go, sorry, I have a boyfriend.
A lot of guys envision rejection as this horrible thing. Like, oh my God, she's gonna get her dad to kill me. It's like, oh my God, a guy's gonna come out with a shotgun. He's gonna nail me. Like, the worst thing that happens to me is just what you said. I have a boyfriend. Usually, the worst of the worst is pretty much when you go in, say, excuse me, and you automatically just hit you with, I'm sorry, no. Like, I've done that too. Like I have a boyfriend. Like, some girls watch too much TikTok, so they kind of see when they assume that they're just being filmed. They assume that they're part of a prank. I've had that happen to me a couple times, not too many, but those. Okay. They're like, no, I'm not interested. Okay. Maybe it's just
this is an interesting question. Did you approach girls at the gym?
I have a couple times actually. Like, I'll give one story. So there was a personal trainer that was at the old gym I used to go to, and she was training someone, so I didn't want to go in that, but because I was also in my workout with my friend. But I actually hit her up when she was leaving the gym, and I shot my shot, and I was like, hey, I actually thought you were cute in there. What's your name? And she was like, oh, I know where this is going. I actually have a boyfriend. I'm sorry. So I was like, I was like, oh yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Well, listen, if it doesn't work out, I might train you sometime, and I was just having fun. She's like, okay. She just gets that. I just say whatever I want.
Yeah.
I usually no. And the reason is because I'm really trying to stay focused. That's just me. If someone wants to go approach a girl at a gym, I'm not going to tell them no. I will say, just don't be an idiot because, you don't want to do some crazy shit because she probably goes there a lot. You go there. You don't want to ruin that because the gym is a sacred place for men. I believe to gain muscle, like just be in that zone, earphones in maybe. So I would say like if you really see a girl that you got to go say hi to, well then fuck your brain's telling you to go. So just go. Don't be a bitch. You might as well. But if you're just like, nice ass, whatever, and just go back to your workout. I would say only like if you got to do it, because if you don't do it, you're going to feel like a bitch, that kind of thing. How about you?
Yeah, so this was always something, and I was kind of with you on that too, and still really am. And I'm not going to lie, like I'm really kind of torn between two different things, right? Because it's like I am like when I put the headphones on, I'm like a horse with my blinders in there. Like I just go to work. I just, I'm just nailing it out. I don't like to speak to anybody, right? I just like to, get it done and get out of there. But recently I've come to the conclusion, I've come to the realization that it's like, a lot of girls that I've been, going out on dates with and hooking up with lately, it's like they got the pretty faces, but it's like not really the body that I'm looking for, right? Like I like a, busty kind of, curvy girl with a big ass, and the hottest girls I see are at the gym, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, why don't I go up and approach? And I've only ever done it once, and I was able to get her number, but that's the only time I ever tried it. And that was just because my buddy dared me. So,
like I'm confident I could get more girls to the gym, but you know what? Gyms are strip clubs now to me. I just girls wearing nothing, and I'm just like, I might as well approach you because your tits are right in front of me. I might as well approach you because if I don't, I'm just missing out at this point. I want to feel that shit. I want to know, is that shit real?
Yeah,
this shit for like a YouTube show. Are you a vlogger, girl? I want to. I'm gonna find that shit out myself.
It's so funny because like when Andrew and I go to the gym, and we're at the gym together, we're doing our thing, and I finish my set, and he'll go do his set next, but I go and look at him, and next thing I know, I just see him just like,
it's in my face.
He's just watching some chick go by. I'm like, come on, bro, it's your time. Like I see it. I know what you're looking at, but come on, you gotta get your
like.
I'm
not against it, but I mean, damn. It's like I'm trying to do this set, and if I'm doing that final rep, that final push, and a girl, this axe is just like my biology is corrupted by this axe. So I'm trying to get stronger. I'm trying to get these gains, right? Representing the channel. I'm trying to represent.
Oh, yeah.
But the ass walks right by me, and I'm just like, oh, and it interrupts my set. I'm just like. So I act because I don't live with my parents anymore. I have an apartment, so I'm like I have a roommate and he has basically his own home gym. So I'm just like, yo, can I please use your equipment? I don't even want to go to the gym today. I don't even want that. I'll do calisthenics. I'll do because I switch it up, gym stuff at home. So I don't go to the gym as much because I do a lot of at home workouts as well. But I mean, I'm not against it. Just just don't act like kid gym. This guy would be on some fuck shit. If you see a girl that goes to the gym a lot, you could easily be like, hey, I noticed you come here a lot. Are you like a bodybuilder? Are you like testing? Are you what are they called?
IFBB bikini.
Going for
yeah, because I see you all the time. I see putting in that work, and she'll be like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, you from around here? You can go off that, or just wait till the girl's done with her set. You don't want to like she's doing that final rep in the overhead press. Hey, excuse me. I've seen a guy I've seen a guy go up to a girl and she was like in the middle of the set and she almost like had the freaking thing drop on her head because she was startled. He was like, hi, excuse me. She's like, the dumbest, you're gonna get this girl killed.
Dummy.
So
yeah, that's brutal. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say, it really, you want to get the timing right when it goes lifting weights, and you want to at least kind of be a little smooth with it. Or if you really want to go direct, if you really don't think you're gonna see her again, like you could just go full on direct and be like, hey, I think you're cute. What's your name? And if she rejects you, honestly, you could just be ruthless. And even if she goes there, you could honestly just not give a fuck. There is that option.
For sure.
A lot of guys can't handle that because they're too scared about what if I see her again? She's gonna remember that one time that. But in reality, if anything, you made her day. If anything, you're making her more motivated to go to the gym because if she got guys coming up to her at the gym, that means she looking good. So maybe a girl finds that motivating. Maybe you just gave her motivation to hit the gym for another week. Maybe don't cheat on your diet that day because now you're making progress. You got guys coming up. You got cute guys coming up to you at the gym. You know what I mean? So it really does depend, But all in all, I'd say go to the gym, not for women, go to get the gains and just to be healthier. But that's just my take. I think every man should just do what you want. Just don't be socially retarded.
It makes you. It makes me think of this guy that I saw. This was like 3 months ago at a gym I go to. I saw this guy and he's walking around still in his winter coat, right? He's walking around the floor and he's going like this, like
looking for meat.
Yeah. He goes up, talks to one girl, then he goes up, talks to another girl. I got my headphones on. I'm doing my workout, and I know what he's doing from a mile away. He's still got his freaking winter coat on. He's not even trying to blend in, but he's just like spam approaching all these girls. Which, hey, maybe he just bought a day pass, which actually wouldn't be a bad approach. Like for number wise, like if you just buy a day approach to a gym and then just go up and approach every girl you see until you get kicked out. Hey, that's one way to go about it. But if that guy's a regular at that gym, oh my God.
I would not. Yeah, someone's gonna complain eventually. People are soft these days. People complain about anything.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah.
People just get carried away. But it really is. I would say most guys don't even have the balls to approach at the gym anyway. The select few who do, when they do it, they're not really. It's something you'd have to stay consistent at and really practice at because, if you're not the master of your gym domain, like if you're just not really about it, because some people are just not meant. They just go to the gym and lift weights, because more people will feel more confident at like a bar or something. Although I really don't believe in like getting drunk and then approaching because that's not because you're. I don't like drunk confidence. I'm really an advocate of sober approaching. Like if you're gonna approach women at the bar, just have 1 or 2 drinks. Don't have like 10 Coronas. Now I'm ready to
Yeah.
get.
Oh,
Now I'm gonna go. It's like, man, you're just
a train
you
wreck.
can't even get her back to your place, man. You're done. So
yeah. That's a good point.
I don't, but I actually want to know what's the backstory on that video you did with the nerd at the club, like because the production value was very interesting for that. We were just watching that beforehand because we saw it and I was like, yeah, we gotta watch this, and there's actually pretty good editing. There was the one I like you a latte that you edited. I was like,
Using the corny pickup lines.
yeah, I was like, you look like a great nerd.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate
Oh, the
that.
nerd off, man. I'm gonna get to that level soon. I just gotta get some glasses. But what was the story behind that? Like,
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but I actually got my start in pranks, like pranks and social experiments, right?
I'm
So
down
I would go around and play these characters, right? And one of them was Lyle the nerd, right? So like I just
Go up and approach girls like this, and I'd be this over the top nerd, and I'd see if I could get girls' numbers.
so my buddy proposed this idea. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this video where we take this like nerdy virgin to the club, and we want you to just act really over the top, right? We're gonna bring along some other guys that don't know, like they're not in on it, right? It's only gonna be me and my other friend who's going to know, like, obviously you're going to play a character, right? And we've just told them that we're going to bring out this nerdy virgin. We're going to try to see if we can get him a girl at the club or, get a number at the club, right? So I was like, okay, I'm in. So we got, my buddy out, who's a really talented DOP, like a director of photography, right? He brings in the big fancy camera. And, we went all out. Like we rented a limo. We did all this shit for it, right? Because I also have a background in film and TV, right? Like I work on, film sets and stuff too. So I've always had that interest in, like nice fancy cameras and cinema and all that stuff too. So, we really wanted to make it like documentary style.
Oh, that's actually pretty badass.
Yeah, when we first saw that, when we first put that on, I was like, oh my god, this is just like something that we probably would have thought up of, but we just never did something like to that extent. Like this is something that I can literally see me like scripting up, like, oh yeah, we should do this and we just do that. And I just see it. I'm just like, oh, this is beautiful. This is just a beautiful piece of work here.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And like we haven't done like social experiments. We
will
though. We will though. But we've done a experiment with online dating. So we've done two. Did we do two? I think we've done 1 or 2 Tinder experiments where we'd create a fake account, a fake woman's account, and we would try to pretty much go through and like match with a bunch of guys and pretty much fake a conversation to see like their game, like look at their profiles, like see where what they could do better, what they where they're doing good, what they can improve on their conversations, like how if they're keeping up with the conversation, if they know what they want, if they know what they're doing, stuff like that. We've tried doing a bunch of those.
I want to know what the competition's doing.
Yeah. So did you take any notes on that? I'm actually curious to see like the conclusions that you got.
Yeah. So we do have one of the videos up on the channel. It's probably from a couple of years ago.
Do you think we'd be able
now.
to show the thing on the screen now?
I can try to pull it up if you want to watch it. But,
yeah.
One thing that we did know from this is that the like when you have it as a woman, when you have it as a woman profile and you start you actually start swiping, like you're gonna get so many likes like in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to be average looking, right?
Yeah. Like we would just go and find random like women's photos online, and we would just go and like look up like very obscure actress and just get like photos of it and just put it up, and then like put a photo of my cat in there too, and then just create like a fake bio and just.
Do you have the Tinder
let-
now? That like could we like flash that to the
I
camera?
no, I don't have that Tinder anymore. I don't
Oh
know.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, because
damn.
remember because that was the original one that we did.
Oh,
wait,
I
can
didn't know if you
search
still
it.
had the messages or not. Because we created a Tinder profile again, like we reactivated it like like 2 months ago.
I have it. I
And
have
this
it
is kind of
here.
the same thing.
I'm gonna.
That's actually it's a really good exercise for guys to do, right? Because if they just take an average girl's Tinder and see all the fucking messages that girls get, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Just don't cut it.
Yeah, most guys are actually pretty lame.
Yeah.
Like hi. I was like, oh, hi, beautiful. It's like, oh my god.
Like, hard eyes.
At least you'd be better off just saying, hey, want to smash? You're better off just doing that.
Inside a
Let me
girl's
see.
Tinder. Yeah, honest. Oh, I can't wait to see this.
Again, this is like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah,
That's how you
this
know
is
we've been doing this for
we've been doing this for a long time.
How long have you guys known each other for? Oh shit, you got the flow.
Oh yeah. I was Thor in the gym, bro. I was
We've known each other
God
since
damn.
middle school.
Yeah, we've known each other
Oh
since
wow, okay.
since middle school. Yeah, we've
10 plus years.
Yeah, we've been
Ooh.
talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, talk about consistency.
Yeah. So and this is our profile. This is the profile we made.
This video is done, we're probably going to delete this account because we have no for these. We're just doing this for this video.
Yeah, it's just specifically for this.
Yeah. So,
Christina.
Mike, show them the bio.
Okay, so yeah, no, I was just on the profile just before. So yeah, we only had 3 pictures on there, and we had. If you want to read it off for me real quick, I'm gonna also say that the 3rd picture, I'm gonna go to it right now so you can see it on the screen. That is my cat.
Anyway, hold on.
Very cute cat.
Oh, what the hell just happened? Hold on. It's fixing itself.
I
have so many like tabs open right now. I gotta start deleting shit.
That's what they don't tell you about the YouTube life. All the technological bullshit they have.
What happens, and then
There we go.
of course, the pinnacle of all Tinder profile, no hookups.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to make it sound like what I've seen,
Yeah.
so to kind of make it more realistic, which
And
this
did
is all
work.
the same girl
in
too.
my favor.
Yeah, and then the what are these?
We use one picture of just her like posing.
Jesus Christ, this fucking video. And this is early 2021.
I don't. Once again, I don't remember this. She's like an unknown celebrity from like a movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
Here
the
comes the
cool.
messages. So I'm fast forwarding to the messages because this is just getting
swipe.
Yeah, I was just like, let me just see.
I'll watch it
And
after
so
this. I'm actually
We
curious.
had a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is this is
Can I see something actually going on?
hold on.
Those-
Let me
Hey,
get
you.
us to shut up. Let me get us to shut up real quick. Do you see how many messages there are? We did that for like 3 or 4 days.
Oh, that's
We had that
insane.
Yeah. Oh, where'd you go? Hold on. Bringing you back up. There we go. Yeah, we had that
Hey.
account up for like 3 or 4 days, and we had that many messages from guys, and they were while we were recording, people were messaging us live while we were recording. So we even I think we even responded to like 1 or 2
we were trolling.
messages while recording.
Yeah,
the thing.
but it's very important that I think your channel is important because you demonstrate Tinder in real life.
Yeah.
Walking up to a girl, you can literally swipe right or swipe left in real time by the way you talk, by the way you move, by the way you act, by the way your behavior demonstrates, by the way you are as a man. And that's literally Tinder in real life. So like your infield, your videos, and you explaining how you got to these conclusions, the dynamics going into how the interaction went. That's all. That's some real stuff that you can't get online. But the good news about watching your channel is you and maybe us, we're kind of ahead of the game because most people rely on online now. But in person is when you get the real shit. You can't get the real shit on the Instagram DMs, on the Facebook Messenger, on Tinder, Bumble. You get the artificial stuff. But when you catch her in real life and you make a move, even though when you're at the club she's wearing makeup or stuff, and who cares?
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you're actually approaching a girl in real life, you actually get the realness, which is, I think, it's an important skill to learn. You know what I mean?
For sure. I really do believe it's the foundation. Because it really is. Yeah. Because I mean, again, it's like you meet up with girls on Tinder, right? You still need those social skills. You still need to know how to lead, how to, read, how to make her feel comfortable. All these different, skills that you gather throughout actual in-person interactions. So it's pivotal.
Yeah, it really is a real life cheat code. But a lot of people, it's good for competition, like being the selfish prick that I could be. I mean, I'll look at good. I want every other guy to be on the online. I don't want him because then I'll be that guy that actually says hi to a girl in real life. So when she meets a motherfucker that's actually confident in who he is and goes up to her and says hi, it shakes up her whole world. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, whoa, this guy he just said I'm cute. Like,
Yeah.
you're not only did you make her day, because guys will find excuses to not approach. I find excuses to approach, or I might as well because she's gonna feel sexy as fuck after she talks to me. I'm gonna make her day. I'm gonna make her
Mhm.
now. She has a story to tell her friends. Oh my god, mom! Guess what? This cute guy named Andrew came up to me at ShopRite, and he said he really liked the way I straightened my hair, and we had a good conversation. And I gave my number, and her mom's go like, "Wow, I wish that happened to me. I met your dad, while he was, something like that."
That's
So
actually that's a good point to go off of, where it's like you'll see a lot hotter girls walking around. What's it called in the state? ShopRite?
yeah,
Yeah.
ShopRite, yeah. So like a ShopRite or a Whole Foods versus like a No Frills or a Food Basics. I don't know if you guys have those in the States, but you'll see a lot higher quality girls walking around at a place where you can buy like organic foods. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you want
Oh, yeah,
a
no.
healthy girl, you got to go to the nutrition section. That's a cheat code, guys. It's some real game
Mm.
right here. If you want the healthier girls, you got to go to where the healthier girls will be, not in the ER. You got to go to the health section of ShopRite or Wegmans or whatever, and you see a girl looking at, oh, I got to get magnesium, or you see her getting the protein shakes. It's like, I think you're
And
cute. You know?
and the thing is too, like it is if that's something you're interested in, right? If you do have knowledge in that area, right? Like the conversation can easily just flow, right? You can start talking about organic bananas or like you said, magnesium, right? And
Right.
you can like if all else fails, you can start talking about, supplements that the girl takes, right? Oh, you take magnesium as well. Have you tried this? Right. And then you like the conversation again just flows that much easier, right?
Right. It's like something I've had fun with, like doing is like if I see her go like looking real hard at something she wants to buy, like I'll go up to her and like I'll have fun with it. So the first thing I'll say is, "Oh, I wouldn't buy that if I were you." And
That's a good line, actually.
yeah, I'll be like, "Oh, it's kind of risky." She'll be like, "What?" I was like, "No, I'm just joking. I actually just thought you were cute. Can I meet you real quick?" And so you can go off from that. Like sometimes I'll troll. I'll have a little bit of fun to begin with because you kind of
Yeah.
spike her. You just give something out rather than you
Mhm.
just have to make it fun. Because I think seduction, besides it being an art, it should be fun. Dating should be fun. It should not be this scary thing. Oh my god, I'm crying. She didn't text me back in 2 hours. She's probably fucking someone else, which she probably is, by the way. But
Yeah.
besides that, people they just overreact. They just care too much, and that's because they're not talking to enough girls. You got to talk to a lot
Mhm.
of girls. That's the key.
Yeah, the scarcity mindset.
Women will destroy a man if a man lets it. Women
Mhm.
have the power to undo a man's entire figure if he's just not confident in who he is.
Yeah, if he's not confident and if he doesn't, lead right out of the gate,
Yeah,
right? Too many guys are just along for the ride.
yeah. You end up like Jeff Bezos, having billions of dollars gone.
Yeah, and that's another thing
Billions of
for all
dollars gone.
like that's another thing for all like the black pill guys out there that say,
Yeah, looks
"Yeah,
money.
I can't get a girl unless I have money." What do you think if I gave you if you think if $1 billion fell down from the sky, you'd all of a sudden just know how to confidently go up and get girls, not only get girls, but actually be able to lead and, have a girl interested in you more than just for her money, right? Or more than your money, right?
Because the big
Like,
problem is guys simply cannot lead.
Yeah.
They have trouble leading. They're not really good leaders. So guys will do the old classic mistake of a girl saying, "Oh, where are we gonna go?" And the guy says, "I don't know.
oh,
Where do you want to go?" And the girl says,
oh.
"Oh, well, like no, we're gonna go to TGI Fridays. I'm gonna get a burger without the bun. I'm gonna get a side of broccoli. Get whatever you want. I know what I want. I'm gonna have a green tea shot if I'm at the bar. What are you gonna get? Like I already know.
Hey, what is that, by the way? What is a green tea shot? I gotta try that.
It's Hennessy mixed with like a green tea kind of thing. Any bar
Okay.
would have it. It's
Green, I've
it's
never
really
heard that.
smooth, and it
I'm
does
gonna
the
give it a
job.
shot.
You
Give it a
should.
shot. I love that.
Yeah.
Great. But because you really got to develop your own style. That's really what it all comes down to. Like you have a way of going up to girls and saying things. That's kind of how every man needs to take your tips and morph them into how it embodies them. They can't go verbatim every single word because then they're gonna get lost and then they're gonna complain in the comments section. Hey, I tried your opener and it didn't work. Like yeah,
Yeah.
because you tried to be me instead of using my tools to help you be you.
Exactly. And here's the thing too is yeah, you can take the fundamentals and do what works for you, but like for me, I know that I'm not gonna because I see some PUAs and this works. They'll like literally like run up to a girl, and stop her. But like if I run up to a girl, she's probably gonna get intimidated because I'm a lot bigger than a lot of these guys doing this. Like they're like, 5, it's just smaller guys, right? So it's like that approach, that style of running up on a girl doesn't really work for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got to do what works for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a big problem with like, especially when you want to learn this on the internet and stuff, is that a lot of these guys, they want to be these people. They want to be the Andrew Tate. They want to be,
Mm,
all these other pickup artists and all these red pill guys. Like they want to be these people because that they wrote books and they have all these videos on these things. But like what you should do is read their books, yes, but you need to apply
mm,
the like not only apply what they are telling you, but also find experiences on your own, because their experiences were their experiences, and they're not going to be verbatim to the experiences that you're going to have. You're going to have some sort of variance because people are just everyone is different, and that includes women, that includes guys. Are all everyone's experience is going to be different in some way. You can have some sort of crossover, possibly. You're not going to have a full parallel. Everything is going to be different, and the thing is that you need to understand certain variables and understand like what can happen in this situation, yes, but everything will be different. You have to think on your toes, and you have to just understand that whatever happens, it's a learning
mm.
experience. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
just something to learn from.
You have to develop your own language.
Yeah.
And as cliche as it sounds, you do learn from experience. Because I remember back in the day where I'd go up and approach girls. Like when I first got into it, it's like I'm thinking ahead like 10 moves. Like, okay, if she says this, I'm going to say this. She might say this, so I respond with this, right? And it's just like I'm at like, how weird would it be if I came on this podcast and I had like a response, like if I was okay, well, if they say this, if they ask me this question, I'll say this, and then if they say that, right, like it would be weird because I wouldn't be present. You guys would be like, what the fuck, like. I'd be taking a while to respond. I'd be like, sitting here like this, right? It's just like, and another thing to add on too, where I believe that this is a very important factor in being able to get a girl's number, right? My phone right now is in the drawer on the opposite end of my house because I don't care. I don't want to be distracted by, notifications, alarm bells, all this shit going off. Right now, I'm present. If a bomb were to go off, I wouldn't know because this is what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you guys, right? So a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll go up and speak to girls, and then, they're kind of looking around, like they might hear, some trees rustling in the distance and get distracted over there, or like, somebody screaming over here. Oh, what is that?
They're
Like,
not
they're
not even there.
they're not present, or they're just like thinking in their mind.
Be turned off.
What was that? Sorry.
So when a girl feels that, they're going to be turned off anyway, or at least it's going to tone down how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Really develop your own language and the way you think about things. I mean, I remember I was with a girl at one point, and I forgot what I said. I said something. She was like, "Oh, what do you think? You're Andrew Tate or something?" So my response was, it was quick and easy. Like I responded immediately. I was like, "Listen, there's only one Andrew around here, and it's the only Andrew that can get that pussy wet." And then we ended up fucking. Like you have to, you have to, you know what I mean? Like you have to have your own. Like I use my name to my advantage. That's like just the way I talk. Like I use my language in my advantage, but a lot of people have to learn how to create their own style for them. So my response is not going to be the same as yours or Mike's, everybody, but you have to go out. It all goes back to consistency and actually making the effort. Do you ever see the movie with the Millers?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah. Boner Garage. I remember that quote or that tattoo.
I use what I do, like when I'm approaching, like if I start to feel any anxiety, I'll do what the guy said in the movie. We said something like count to 3, and if you count to 3, you're not going to do it. So I'll look at a girl and I'll count 1, 2, 3, and by number 3, I'm going in. And if I count to 3, or if I get to 4 and I don't go approach, I say, you know what, you failed, whatever. But I'll usually just do, usually works. It's like I'm more of I got to go in, just do it, get in, and then my natural, it's just whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But 1, 2, 3, I'm going in. That's it. There's no 4.
100%. And you know what? Like using that kind of, the 3-second rule. Do you take cold showers at all? Do you like cold therapy?
Yeah, sometimes. I know there are benefits to it. There are actually benefits to hot and cold showers. I'm personally, I just love warm showers. That's just me.
Yeah.
I do cold showers sometimes though.
Okay, so you've done that. I was just gonna say, it's like I go to this cold tub, right? It's at I have it at the gym, and what I'll do is like I'll just jump in, right? But I'll see a lot of guys, they'll stand on the edge and they'll kind of like dip their toe in. They'll dip their toe in for like a minute, and they'll keep taking it out. They'll dip their toe in again, right? And then they'll just walk away, and they won't end up doing it.
Yeah, same thing with the ocean at the Jersey Shore, like because we're in Jersey. So like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to go in the water. Let me put 1 footstep in first. Nah, I'm jumping the fuck in. I'm
Yeah.
jumping.
Yeah, just jump in. Like,
When it comes to water, when it comes to you go into water, regardless of the temperature, you need to just jump in to let your whole body shock.
I believe in my body. I believe that my body will adapt to the water. Same thing when going into talking to a girl. I believe that when I go and talk to this girl, it's going to be a good conversation because no matter what happens in this interaction that's about to go down, I'm going to win. I'm going to win a smile. I'm going to win some seductive eye contact. I'm going to win her getting red. I'm going to win a number, maybe sex later on. Who knows? I'm going to win something. I won an experience. I won a great story. I won. Like that's a mentality you got to have when you go in.
I love it. Yeah, it's so true. I won.
But people, they let themselves get in the way, and you can't blame women for that. That's all you. People got to take accountability for their own actions. If you're not going to go out and talk to girls and complain that you're not fucking, why? How come you're not fucking? I tell Mike all the time, I will approach 10,000 women and get rejected 10,000 times before I ever subscribe to a girls OnlyFans account. I don't care. Just can't be me.
Love it. Yeah. Why?
But like my last question is like from a numbers perspective, because I know a lot of people ask about this or they'll think about it at one point. Like let's say you approach 100 girls, how many of those girls you'll get the number, go on a date and possibly smash, or I know will smash. So let's just say that out of 100 girls.
If I were to ballpark it, I've never actually sat down and done the calculation, but I would say maybe averaged out, maybe 1 in, I don't know, 6, 1 in 5, if I were to just guess.
I'm pretty much 10. Like I would say I'm like 10% out of 100, because which is okay because you don't need to have sex with every girl you talk to. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be in my bed with like 10 girls. I don't have time for
and
that's the beauty of life.
That's a good point, because I just wanted to talk about this real quickly, because that's something I'm learning. Well, I've kind of learned in the last couple of years, right? Where it was like back in the day, it was like, oh man, how many girls can I get with, right? But now it's more so about like quality over quantity, because now I see it as like, okay, there's 2 hours for Sarah, there's 3 hours for Bethany. Like, should I allot this time to her on Friday, or would I rather, film a video and edit a video and get that up, right?
Yeah.
Like I kind of prioritize, is Bethany really worth my time? Like she's hot, but like she's kind of annoying. I don't really want to, hang out with her, or vice versa, right? Where it's like, Sarah's got a great personality, but she's not the hottest. I don't know. Is she worth the 2.5 hours? Would I rather get a video done, right? So it's like, really just prioritizing,
And you have to choose where you invest your time. Like I've canceled on girls to play Call of Duty Zombies with Mike. He can confirm this. If sometimes if it's just not worth it, or I'll go super direct in order to know what it goes about. Because if I just want sex, I'll be like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know if we hang out tonight, you're gonna come back to my place and I'm gonna see how wet I can get you within 10 minutes. And she's gonna be like, oh, I'm actually not really looking for that. I'm actually more towards a relationship. I'm like, you know what? You should find as I said, I like to have fun with everything, and I know the game. I just have fun. So you know what? You seem like a good girl, because I'll give her a great last text message exchange before I send her off to find a weak guy. Like I'll be like, you know what? You seem like a good girl. I think you should get a guy to buy you dinner and get you flowers. And I think you should just get to know a guy and do that thing. And she'll be like, oh my god, like I'll let him go like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you should be very direct. Listen, I'm just trying to have sex. So if you're not trying to have sex, great. I think you should get a free meal. I'm all about women getting free meals. You go get that free meal. And then when you're done eating,
It's not for me,
right? When you're done eating at Texas Roadhouse, you come into my house. You come to my house
for dessert.
Yeah. You get. I can't give you any food. I think someone said this, but I'll be like, all I got is dick and bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. But that comes from knowing what you want, and it really depends. So a lot of guys think that you're gonna get a number from every girl and you're gonna smash it. Like it's gonna be rejection most of the time, but the girls you do get, at least you could vet them out and know if they're actually worth coming into your home, actually worth spending time with. Some gotta end up loving the opposite sex, really.
Yeah. That's a good point. Talk to more girls. In general, I think a lot of guys have a sourcing problem. They're not talking to enough girls, right? It's like, they're only relying on the girl they know through social circle, the couple girls that are in their class in college, or like, maybe that one girl they work with, right? And it's like, how many girls are you actually talking to, right? In my opinion, it's like, to be able to get an abundance mindset, you have to talk to more girls, right? So really, it's like, day game, night game, online, social circle, like, utilize everything, right? Cast a wide net.
Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty much the best way to do it. That's the best way to start, is really like start with what you know, and then move, and then start spreading yourself out, and start like going into other avenues that you might not have either thought of or that you haven't gotten to yet. And that way you can not only learn more things and have more experience, but also find other people that that you may never have even found, like ever,
Yeah.
like never actually tried.
Exactly. Yeah, guys. So if you guys want to find Devin, go to his channel. Just approach, guys. I think you have a thing for coaching, or how can people find you?
Yeah, so just approach on YouTube, all across the board, Instagram and TikTok as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
beautiful.
Yeah, guys. Make sure if you like this conversation, definitely hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments and other questions in the future, definitely leave in the comment section.
We're definitely going to do a part 2.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
gonna do a part 2 of this at some
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm definitely
we'll
down.
talk to you a couple minutes on the back end, but yeah, guys, definitely check out his
Just
channel
approach,
and
yes.
subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to both channels, and we're going to see you guys in the next video.